Well, hello, my little beauties. It's Sunday, and welcome to this little impromptu live stream with me, David Connolly, the web developer extraordinaire. I think I'm recovering from my cold, thank heavens, but I'm still rocking the woolly and somewhat holy jumper here. I hope you'll forgive that. Anyway, I wanted to come on and just do a slightly random and possibly quite short little live stream here. Excuse me for this facial expression, but I discovered that somebody who is a channel member, who at least maybe was, who has donated and been really cool and everything, turns out he has been sneaking around in the shadows, encouraging people to unstar GitHub. But we're not going to talk about that. He will be dealt with tomorrow. I think it's 7:30, where I'll be doing a video called Judgment Day for Doronov. I'll tell you the whole thing, and I think it's safe to say the drama shall be dramatic. He doesn't know that I know, by the way, but I see everything. So we're going to be talking about that tomorrow. Today, however, I wanted to say a couple of things in response to the last video that I put out, the one about ever wondered why there are no Indian PHP frameworks, something to that effect. Just in case you never figured it out, I'm not saying that there are no Indian PHP frameworks or there's not good Indian developers. There are. I've worked with some of them. I've met some of them. I even left a link to one of them on the description. What I'm saying is there are a lot of talented Indian web developers, but you don't get to see them at the conferences. You're not going to see them on top 10 PHP frameworks lists or anything like that. They don't get a kick of the ball because they're not part of the club. And it's kind of the same with me. Now, I'm okay with it. I'm really okay with it. I don't want to be the angry guy who is going around constantly paranoid and all of that, you know. I think it's kind of funny. But I have had this incredible enlightening moment where I've just suddenly realized that this is a rigged game. I mean, you know, it's the whole thing. It's completely rigged. And the funny thing is, you know, there's certain channels, at least in the web development genre, that seem to do well focusing on different aspects of the web development industry. Now, I'm not sure if I'll be talking about web development much longer. I see web development as the Titanic, and I think it's going down. However, I'm starting to think that maybe there's some sort of angle here for me to reposition this channel as the guy who gives you the running live commentary as the ship goes down. Because the web development ship is going down, especially with PHP. In fact, I'd like to show you a little comment that came in just today, and it's pretty much the reason why, one of the reasons why I'm doing this live stream, you know. So let me see here. Yeah, we'll see if I can show you the screen. Can you hear me? Hello? All right. So this came in here from WatcherNode6138. And thank you for the comment, WatcherNode. It was well intentioned. He says, David, I think the solution is to sit down and brainstorm about the utility. Does the market really need what you're building? The problem with many developers is that they charge ahead like a horse, continuing to build without realizing that there may be no market for their product. This is known as the sunk cost fallacy. It's like building a lottery ticket with your time and effort. If you can't come up with a viable idea, consider integrating your code with an existing business. Help them solve a problem, reduce costs, or track employee productivity. With your experience and insights, you can add significant value. This approach is known as SaaS, Software as a Service. You need to partner with a business owner, not just another developer. Thank you, Watcher Node 6138, and a fabulously written comment, and I appreciate the business lesson. By the way, how do we know that that comment was run through ChatGPT? Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's good. I should start doing it myself. How do we know that the comment was put through ChatGPT? Anybody? Anybody know? Well, I'll show you. When you see this hyphen here, this character even, that's usually, oh yeah, we've got some fabulous right-wing stuff coming up on the right-hand side. Thank you, YouTube. Oh man, I love that Nigel Farage guy. Anyway, when you see this character here, that's not really a proper hyphen. A proper hyphen is a space, a horizontal dash that's about 2/3 that size, and then another space. When you see that, it's actually a little bug in ChatGPT that shows up from time to time. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, by the way. Nothing wrong with it. I wish I put more of my own comments through ChatGPT, and I'm certainly grateful for the comment. I think that as well-intentioned as that type of comment is, and it certainly is, the comment makes a couple of well-intentioned but erroneous assumptions. For instance, I think it suggests that there's some sort of innovation challenge, perhaps. Maybe I've misread it. And I get the feeling that it implies that the Trongate framework is some kind of Me Too framework. And perhaps I've wasted this time pushing something that the marketplace doesn't really need. It's a valid comment. I'm not going to get offended by that. The only thing is, in order for me to believe that, I have to believe that the marketplace has no respect for stability, Trongate being V1 forever. I have to believe that the marketplace has no respect for benchmarks like speed. You're asking me to believe that the marketplace has no respect for something that can function without any third-party dependency. And more specifically, you're asking me to believe that the PHP community, which is vast, has absolutely no use for a framework that does not use things like PSR4 autoloading. I just don't believe that. We can go to YouTube and look at framework reviews and see videos of people talking about the best web development framework. Now, apart from maybe some Laravel developers whose presentation amounts to Laravel's brilliant, you know, that's pretty much the beginning, middle, and end of it. God bless them all. But apart from that, you'll usually see people talking about all of the things that I've just mentioned. You'll see them talking about maybe how easy it is to get started, how fast it is, how many lines of code you have to write. These are all the measurables. And I simply do not believe that all of those measurables are, well, irrelevant. I think they are relevant. The other thing, and somebody else had said, why don't you make Trongate asynchronous? Somebody said. And again, it was another well-intentioned comment. Maybe if you made the PHP or the framework asynchronous, that would change things. Again, a well-intentioned idea. But I've spent 5 years saying, maybe if I build such and such, maybe that'll make a difference. The last great hurrah was Trongate MX, a library based on HTMX, but one that went much, much further than HTMX in the end. Here's the documentation for it. Can you see the screen? Here it is here. There's tons and tons to it. Massive, massive amount of work, you know. Here's the references, you know. And I've had loads of projects like that. And every time I do them, I think, this will be the one, you know. This will be the one. But it never is. Now, it's possible, and I have to take this seriously. It's possible that maybe it's me. Maybe there's something about my own personality that is so foul, so unlikable, that the influencers, the PHP newsies of the world and so on, are just saying, let's just ignore it because he's such a bad guy. It's possible. It is possible. And by the way, I've seen this happen before in the crypto world, where somebody has, you know, been a sort of unsavory character and caused issues. Anybody who knows about Bitcoin Cash may know what I'm talking about. So it is possible. As much as that's a convenient explanation, and actually a very fixable explanation, because all I have to do is disappear and go behind the scenes or something, as convenient as that explanation is, I just don't believe it. The reason why I don't believe it is twofold. First of all, I have people who have stood by me through the years. Some of them might even be here. Give me an ahoy if you're in the room, won't you? I have people who have purchased courses, who have donated. In fact, I'm living off of donations here. I have a private members area, not Mark Knopfler, joined today. Hello to you, not Mark Knopfler. I saw the little notification. Today we had a pull request that came in from Dom Sinclair down in England. Thank you, Dom Sinclair. The help and the encouragement that I've received is overwhelming. And there are people out there who like me and who have stood by me. And have stood by me even when I have been, at times, an obnoxious loudmouth. And when I look at all of that, when I look at all of those people, you know, every time I live stream in the private members area, Stefan's there from Germany. We have Gear from Iceland. I used to call him the secret millionaire. He donated so much. And of course, Simon, who, as far as I'm concerned, is a co-founder. All of these people and more, Dan, here we go, I'm going to miss people out and offend people. Look, If you missed the list, tough luck. The point is, we have a lot of friends. I have a lot of friends. And they matter. They exist. And if I'm really as terrible as maybe I'm thinking, how come I've got people who like what I'm doing? I actually think, and this is my second point, the truth of the matter is that as a person, I don't think that I'm particularly radical or even that interesting. Truth be known, I don't even vote, you know? In fact, it's even worse than that. I rarely go out. I code, you know? There's maybe I've offended the cat or something, I don't know. But there's really not much happening here. Just a guy doing code, you know? I don't think I'm that interesting at all. So the evil Dave theory, as much as it's a compelling and interesting little theory, and as much as I'd love to be the angry paranoid guy who thinks they're all out to get me, I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. And to give you a little spoiler alert for tomorrow's show, Doronov's going to be okay. The only person who owes an apology with that situation is me. But don't let him know that. That's coming up. So I don't think I'm really that bad a guy. I don't think I'm particularly interesting or controversial or anything. What is going on? Ahoy to you, Babylon Data Vault. What a beautiful name. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for letting me know you're here. I appreciate it. And thank you to the 2 people who gave me likes, because heaven knows I need them. Folks, I think it's time to just talk honestly about what's happening. PHP is a rigged game. I apologise if I'm starting to sound like a broken record player, but my eyes have opened. I was blind, and now I can see. Finally, I get it. Finally, and it took a long time, but finally, I now understand that it doesn't matter what I build. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how I conduct myself. I mean, for the past year, I've been coming on wearing a shirt and tie, you know, age of integrity. Remember all of that? Doesn't change anything. I don't think it even matters how the framework itself is managed. I don't think it matters if the framework is an out-and-out dictatorship or if it's a complete committee-driven henhouse or somewhere in between. Nothing's going to change. You're not going to see a Brad Traversy tutorial talking about Trongate or Derek Banas or any of the usual suspects, and they're all friends with each other. You'll see them talking about how great Laravel is, a framework that is demonstrably the slowest and most frequently rewritten in the entire PHP community. Prove me wrong. Tell me the name of the framework that's slower. Tell me the name of the framework that gets more frequently rewritten. The comments are open. So you'll see them doing that, but you won't see them talk about Trongate ever. And I'm smiling because now I get it. I must be a frigging idiot. I must be a Kentucky Fried idiot because I wasted 5 years. Like a complete moron, I assumed that this was some kind of meritocracy. I assumed that if I built something that was stable, secure, that boosted productivity and solved a few problems. I thought that I could, pay the rent. Pay the rent. Let me show you. Let me show you what paying the rent looks like. Well, I was going to show you my Lamborghini, but maybe not quite. This is a big old box of syringes. That's right, Coco. We're talking about you. Come on in, Coco. About 2 years ago, little Coco here got into a fight with some cats outside. And unfortunately, they got her. I've never showed you this. They got her here. On you go. See above the eye? Do you see it? There. And they got her here as well. And about every second day, I have to get a big old syringe, and this box is almost done. I mean, look, it's empty. Just about. I have to get a big old syringe, and I have to get these big lumps that are about the size of a golf ball, and I have to go like that and suck out the poison and then drain it. I had her checked out about 18 months ago. They said it's not cancer, it's nothing to worry about. It's probably just some infection thing. But that's what I do every couple of days. You can see the blood where I've done it today, actually. Now, this would probably be peanuts to solve at the vets. I don't know. I've seen a couple of YouTube videos. I mean, it's pretty easily fixable. It's not life-threatening. It's not a big deal. It's a pretty trivial thing. Maybe I could get it fixed for about $1,000. But I don't have $1,000. I don't have anything near $1,000. If I look at my bank account today, right now, I've probably got about 200 quid. That's it. I have no crypto, no savings, nothing. This watch, this piece of shit, this is not a Rolex. This is a Denver. Look at it. I got this for 12 quid out of AliExpress. And I don't want to flaunt poverty. I've never told any of yous about this. Not one of you, even in private. You don't know about how I have to do dishes in the bathtub every day. You don't know about that, do you? You don't know about the fact that I am now quite literally unemployable. I've given up. I get it now. Message received. I'm not going to bother trying to get hired anymore. I'm not on any benefits or anything, by the way. The only thing that keeps me going is this little channel members area and 1 or 2 donations. But the damage that has been done is immense. And I'm so ashamed. I'm so ashamed of myself. Every night, you know what my day's like? You want to know what my average day's like? My average day is, usually I wake up around about 8:30. Then I'll down a black coffee, just like this one. Usually I'll start live streaming and I'll work till about 7 at night. Then I walk to my mum's She lives about a mile down the road. When I walk to my mum's, by the time I arrive, I've not ate anything. No breakfast, no lunch, nothing. But thank heavens, I go to my mum's and that's feeding time, so going on a big feeding frenzy, like a complete ponce. And I'm so ashamed. And then I walk back home. And then I work, usually till about 5:30 in the morning. Correction, 5 in the morning usually. I get about 3.5 hours sleep a night. Do you have any idea how that feels? Let me show you something else. What happens if you look up your name on YouTube or on the web? What comes up? Let's see what comes up for me. Here's what comes up for me. Well, a whole bunch of me. But there we go. Page 1. David Connolly can't take criticism. So somebody, it seems, perfectly anonymous, of course, watched from the thousands and thousands of hours of live streaming footage that I've done. They found a moment. You can see it's under 2 minutes. They found a moment. And I haven't entirely watched it or anything, but I think I say something about what is it with all of these trans fanatics coming after me. And so there it is, and it's quote mined. And now it's on YouTube. And that's what comes up. That's what comes up. Now, here's the inside scoop. We all know what quote mining is. It's an intelligent bunch here. Imagine if you had live streamed for thousands and thousands and thousands of hours and then somebody just grabs a little section for 2 minutes and they do that. I'm thinking, geez, is that all he's got? Or she or they? But here's the truth of the matter. I don't know entirely what I said that offended the alphabet mafia, the LGBTQR, whatever. I think I said in a live stream that I felt it was an absurdity for, in some hypothetical scenario where Mike Tyson declares himself female and fights for the women's heavyweight title. I think that was the great thing that I said. Oh, how radical, how terrible. I think that was the comment. And there was some random who just plucked that comment out of obscurity with no context whatsoever, chucked it on YouTube. And now, anyone who searches for my name, they see that. So I'm not getting hired. Looks like I'm going to have to keep using these. It's a miracle that people have stood by me. By any normal definition, I think I qualify as a loser. There's been many times where I've been this close to being homeless over the last 5 years. The damage is astonishing. And to think that there's people out there who think that this has got something to do with asynchronous, or maybe you need to build some new feature or something. It's a nice thought, but it's ridiculous. The truth of the matter is, it's all a rigged game. All of it. I realise that. And I'm not going to delude myself anymore into thinking that if I build the next thing, I mean, how many things have I built? The auto upload, I mean, let's have a list of just some of the things I've built that you don't see anywhere else. The architecture, for a start, the truly modular architecture, you don't see that. The idea of the main workings of the framework in a folder called engine that gets automatically updated when a new change comes along. Nobody else is doing that. The idea of using the version number, and I mean 1.3.000, to signify if an update's due. Nobody's doing that. The graphical query builder that you get free of charge, nobody's doing it. There are a few code generators, but I don't think there's any as good as the one that comes with Trongate, in my own opinion. The API manager, I happen to think, is probably best in class, probably. What I don't think is best in class, and I know is best in class, is the multi-file uploader. I have a video on YouTube where I compare Trongate's multi-file uploader to Dropzone and FilePond, the two most popular JavaScript alternatives. Trongate outperforms both of them. I'm not aware of any other PHP framework that comes with its own date pickers, time pickers, all sorts of JavaScript libraries. I think Trongate Pages is arguably the best feature that we've got. And recently, of course, Trongate MX. And the list goes on and on and on. The module market. We're not short of stuff, ladies and gentlemen. And a whole bunch of that stuff you will never see anywhere else. But the time has come to be honest about what I'm up against. And I'll tell you something. One of the things that happened lately, I say lately, maybe it was about a year ago, I can't remember. But one of the things that happened that was particularly hurtful was when Phil Sturgeon, who is a core member, or was a core member of PHP Fig, who is a very well-known developer who had played the circuit scene and appeared at conferences, courses and everything. He was considered to be one of the driving forces behind CodeIgniter, going back to about 2011, at a time when CodeIgniter was really popular. I mean, we're talking about one of the greats of PHP. And about a year ago, entirely out of the blue, he tweeted, "The only thing about Trongate that's impressive is the fact that that mess got 1,000 GitHub stars." And I'm paraphrasing, it might have been slightly different, but that was the essence of it. And I was gutted. I'd never spoken to the guy. I'd mentioned him once. I tried to contact him once as a kind of fan. But out of the blue, for some reason, he woke up and decided, I'm gonna just have a little go at him. And I was pretty gutted about that. Interestingly, I have to apologise if I've made a ghastly mistake. Because it turns out, if you look at the profile of Phil Sturgeon on somewhere like X, what do you think it says? Take a guess. That's right. They, them. There we go. I wonder if there's a connection. I wonder, oh, how I wonder, if there's a connection between some guy saying, I'm not really into PHP Fig, one of the PHP Fig, perhaps former core members, who happens to be a they, them, being offended, and what do you know? Somebody goes after me, my name is Mud, and here I am, wearing a cardboard belt. Oh, how I wonder if there could be a connection. In any event, I'm not going to make a big thing out of that. People are free to say what they like. It's kind of a beautiful thing, actually. I like free speech, believe it or not. Even if it's ruining my life, I quite like it. It's good, you know, it's good. And of course, free speech goes two ways. Because let me tell you something. Just the other night, I had a look at the GitHub repo of Phil Sturgeon. The sort of, I don't know, Joe Frazier of PHP. I had a look. And I had a really close look. I went historic. I went way back in time, 2011 and even further back. I was curious to find out what exactly has this marvel of modern day science, this genius, this godfather of PHP actually produced. Well, sure enough, there were a few commits on the CodeIgniter repo, few little projects here and there, and I went further. Oh, how I went further. I looked at the exact commits. I looked at the exact codes, the dates, everything. I checked it out. And what I discovered was dog shit. They were all bullshit commits. A little comment here, commit. A little renaming of a variable there, commit. Same old story. He has built F all and done F all. That's PHP Fig, and that's just one of the self-appointed governing bodies, the code police, who have so eagerly ruined PHP. And to those who say, maybe you should build a feature that does this, maybe you should build a feature that does that, well, I appreciate the suggestion. But let's not have any pretense that there's an innovation problem here. The only innovation problem is coming from the henhouse, who have stifled innovation and frankly ruined PHP. The one consolation I've got in all of this is that we're all on the same boat. There's no question that the PHP jobs market is crashing. I had another look today. My brilliant PHP developer friend is still unemployed. I mean, the phone is stopping ringing for people. And everything that I said turned out to be right. All of it. I called out the middle management bullshit. I called out all of the agile assholes. I called out rewrite culture. I called out PSR4 autoloading. Not only did I call it out, I looked at the code. How many people watching have done that? How many of you watching have actually gone into the folders and says, what happens when you do that vendor autoload stuff? Well, I've done it. I took the time. I checked it out. And I called it out. And the funny thing is, as I look back on this long web development career of mine, I can honestly say I don't think my best moment was the Trongate framework. I do not think my best moment was Speed Coding Academy or building an app with 1,000,000 lines of code that gets used by about 80% of car manufacturers. Little commercial thing. I don't think it was any of that. I think that my biggest achievement and my greatest achievement was that I called out the bullshit, and I did so alone. I did it when all of you were just sitting, either clapping away or quietly thinking, this is bullshit. Well, I called it out, and everything that I said was right. I mean, it just was, you know? And so now, well, I'm actually thinking that since we're all on the Titanic, I mean, it's funny to think that 5 years ago, PHP was whooping Python on all of the measurables. Today, Python is flying and nobody wants to touch PHP. So who knows? Maybe the whole direction of this channel is just going to be a commentary as the Titanic goes down. We're all on the same boat, you know. And how I warned you all. Maybe that's what we'll do. And the funny thing is, I was talking about freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is a painful thing. But on the other hand, maybe we can have some fun. For example, perhaps it's time to show you folks what I know. Perhaps it's time, for example, to go through things like the repos, look at the work of people like Phil Sturgeon and see exactly what they have been doing. And maybe I can show you that. And so you can see for yourself, you know, here's the dude who's charging for certification, or here's the dude who sets the questions for the PHP exams or whatever. Let's us together as a group have a very close academic and serious look at what this person has actually produced. I think I could walk you through all of that stuff. I think you would find it extremely educational and extremely enlightening. Maybe that is the direction of this channel. I don't know. But in any event, it feels good to be at the other side. It feels good to finally be rid of the shackles. And with that, I'll read a few comments and then I'll get out of here. So let's see what you got here. I must be really miserable. I've only got 4 likes. Well, what's the rule? I think I say to myself, if I've got a certain percentage, if I don't get of likes, I delete the video. Maybe I'll delete this. Anyway, Babylon, the problem is definitely not you. The problem started with the end of CodeIgniter, the old one, and the start of Laravel. This is Babylon Data Vault, which more and more people try to pass as the new religion. There is something really not clear. But you can see glimpses through the shadows here and there. Something to think about. Where is the new blood? The children, the carriers of hope for PHP. There's only sheeps now, and lots of sheeps. You strayed from the road, David. You are a revolutionary now. Thank you, Babylon Data Vault. What a poetic comment. Plotting an escape. I love that name. You folks have got beautiful names today. Plotting an escape says, cold, harsh, truth. Nobody asked for a new PHP framework. The market didn't ask for it. The industry didn't. The workers didn't. You can build a gravity engine tomorrow and that will change nothing for a long while. Plotting an escape continues. Pardon me if I read these wrong. You're obsessed with the speed of a file uploader, but you're the only person obsessed with that. Nobody else cares. Okay. The thing about that, though, is that I haven't even used that file uploader for over a year. The trouble is, it's very difficult to say something like, this is the best framework without justifying it. So when I say something like the file uploader, or I mention the benchmarks, I'm well aware that people probably don't care. I get the message. But at least I'm speaking about some measurable stuff, you know? Would it help if I spoke about lines of code or benchmarks or anything? Well, I've done that. Shall we remind ourselves, or are we all sick looking at it? I'm sick looking at it. I suppose for old time's sake, here we go. So I've tried my best. And you'd be amazed at the amount of people who've tried to debunk this, but they haven't, of course. You know, it was all real. Taylor Otwell recently tweeted, and I think he was referring to Trongate. He never mentioned it by name. But I think he tweeted, nobody cares about speed, or speed doesn't matter. And what really matters is if it's a good framework, or words to that effect, you know? And the funny thing is, I agree. I agree entirely. And speed is not the priority of the Trongate framework. It's about third or fourth in the list of priorities. The only reason we talk about speed a lot, though, is because it's measurable. I mean, if Taylor Otwell was sitting here, I would say hello. We would get along well. And I would say to him, you really made an interesting point about speed and how the things that matter are actually having a good framework, or words to that effect. And I would say, let's have a conversation about what a good framework means. Now, perhaps he would say, and I'm just speculating, maybe he would say one that follows the standards or something, I don't know. If he did say that, I would say, but what if the standards are rubbish? Or at least what if somebody doesn't agree with the standards? Maybe he would say, if things are structured in a logical manner or something, that's a good framework. And I have a graphic somewhere. I'm sick looking at it. Doesn't matter now, I suppose. But then I would say, okay, that's interesting. Let's talk about that. And as the conversation went on, I would be trying very hard to come up with something that we can define, something that we can attach a numeric value to. And at that point, perhaps we can have an honest conversation. But that's never going to happen. You're never going to see me in any conference or any discussion like that. The only time you'll see any of them talking about me is if they're making up lies, pretending that it has SQL vulnerabilities. Another little trick that they pulled. As for Taylor Otwell, I've never met the guy. I don't know him. I happen to think that I'm not a Laravel expert at all. At all. I have to give you that disclaimer. But the bits that I've seen, I was struggling to find a single line of code that I agree with. But on the other hand, what he achieved was remarkable. And, you know, he appeared as a lone ranger, and he built this framework that became incredibly popular. I actually think that his real ability, or his real talent, is possibly in marketing. And in the way that he has positioned that whole product and the ecosystem and all that is fantastic. Really, really impressive. And who knows, if I win the lottery, maybe I'll hire him as a marketing consultant, you know. I mean, it's not all bad news. I'm not in the business of demonizing anyone here, you know. What else have we got in the comments here? You're a genius with focus in the wrong places, plotting an escape. You need to find the money, DC. You won't find it in Trongate. Yeah, well, it looks that way. Babylon Default, you two are really ruling the comments here, says Babylon Default, once you feel comfortable, it's the starting of the end. PHP is more than comfortable right now. Yeah. Plotting an escape says there are plenty of Laravel jobs. Really? Let's put that to the test. Let's put that to the test right now. I haven't rehearsed this. Laravel developer wanted. Well, here's Indeed. So there's 34 grand a year. And that's in London. I have a database of job adverts from London, where about 80% of my clients came from, dating back to 2012. And in 2012, the going rate for a PHP developer in London was 65,000 per year. Now I'm seeing 34. But maybe that was just a freak advert. Maybe that was just some unlucky thing. Okay, here's a PHP senior one, 55 to 70. You might think that's good. But if you adjust for inflation, think about what the prices were like 2012. And that is kind of a 2012 salary. When you adjust for inflation, this is not that impressive to me. There's one at 40 to 45 again. It's just not impressing me, you know? And as soon as I see that, I see a big old full stack up to 100,000 a year. Well, that is quite good, actually. But I'm seeing a lot of stuff here that really is just peanuts. And by the way, I assume you realise that London is traditionally the highest paying city on the planet Earth when it comes to developer jobs. Don't know why. But I'm seeing a lot of jobs going for pretty low salaries. And pretty much ruined my case there with that 100 grand a year one, eh? I'll quickly move on. All right. So I know very few people more deserving of being a millionaire than you, but I just feel your focus is in the wrong place. Ugh, don't worry about it. As far as my own personal situation goes, I've become really good at being poor, you know? Like grandmaster level, you know? I'm now at the stage where if mail comes in the door and it's somebody's chasing me for debt or something, usually I can phone them or send an email or something and have them go away for a while. I mean, I'm really, really good at this, you know? And the truth of the matter is, I don't blame anyone but myself. I chose this, you know? I chose this. I am ultimately responsible. But I'm not gonna waste my time humoring some pretense that web development is anything but a rigged game. As I said earlier, the one consolation I've got is that we are all in this sinking ship together. And I think you'll see that playing out, and it's fine, you know. As for Trongate, I was pretty disappointed to find out that somebody has been sneaking around. I mean, I don't care if it's just some anonymous person, but to find out that somebody who was a channel member has been sneaking around encouraging people to unlike Trongate, that was a bit of a downer. But we'll talk about that one tomorrow. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing okay. Dan, nice to see you, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Ahoy to you all. Ahoy to you all. I'd love to know who's in the room, actually. I'll stay. If anybody's got any questions or comments, let me know. I'll wait 1 minute. All right. Capsule, thank you, says, if you make something hard to work with and complicate people's lives while acting like you are the smartest person on earth, as a result, you will get a lot of conference invitations. Guaranteed. That went a different direction to what I thought. Let me read that again. If you make something hard to work with and complicate people's lives while acting like you're the smartest person on earth, as a result, you'll get a lot of conference invitations. Guaranteed. Well, there we go. Now we know. Thank you. Thank you. Dan Stuff says, I did not hear about the sneaky person. Well, tune in tomorrow. Spoiler alert. Once again, spoiler alert. Sometimes I think that I'm built for controversy. Sometimes I feel as if I'm built for war. I'm good at the old ridicule game, you know. I'm really good at it. But to tell you the truth, and it is my spoiler alert, as far as that particular story goes, I am the one who deserves ridicule. But that's a secret. I'll reveal all tomorrow, you know. Okay. Well, can you believe it? I had 20 viewers there. Pretty good for a guy like me. Well, folks, with your permission, I'm going to head off now. It has been indeed a pleasure and a privilege to be here. If you see me babbling on about things like my financial position and stuff like that, don't worry about it. I'm okay. I'm more than okay. No, nothing required. Everything is beautiful. I've spent the last month, I mean, I actually kind of realised what way the wind was blowing about a month ago. I must be a really slow learner. But it was about a month ago, and it was after Trongate MX, that I was just like, it just suddenly dawned on me. There is nothing that I can build that will turn this framework around. There's nothing that I can say, nothing that I can do. When you say no thanks to the self-appointed governing bodies, you're done. You're done. One of the greatest, most eye-opening moments for me, there was a video that I put out, and it was called my top 10 web development regrets, you know? Hold on a second. That video probably got about 3 views or something like that. But it turned out to be a really good video for me. It was really good therapy, you know? To revisit all of the things over the years that I felt I've done right and what I've done wrong and so on. And many of them, it was the first time I'd spoken about it. And I think my top regret was the one where I spoke about how I had been speaking to Brad Traversy. We exchanged emails from time to time. He followed the channel, I know. And I remember one or two times he would be doing a video and he'd go to YouTube, and it's like, you know how if you go to YouTube, I'll just show you, right? So if I'm on YouTube, do you see how on the bottom left, you can see the people that I'm subscribed to, right? We've got a few watch channels here and a few music channels, right? So you can see who I'm into. And I remember watching these Brad Traversy videos, and over on the left-hand side of the screen, and he's on YouTube, and it's me. And I think I was at the top of his list, you know? And that's pretty cool, right? Because the dude's got, what, 3 million followers now. And he does a really great job. And, you know, what he does is impressive. But nobody ever talks about, well, who does he follow? Well, turns out it's me. Or at least it was me. And Brad Traversy and I used to exchange emails. We were quite friendly and everything. And then when I built and launched Trongate, suddenly it went stone cold. And I go into it all in that video. I won't regurgitate this ancient history. But the bottom line is that he suddenly found something to become really offended about. Whatever. And it only dawned on me after I had recorded that video and after I had slept on it and looked back on it. It dawned on me that he wasn't offended by me at all. You know, it's like, if I go like that, if I say, hey, He-Man, I don't know if I really like that shield of yours. Now, if He-Man goes like that, I can't believe you've said that. I love this shield. I'm out of here. I never want to see you again. And he leaves. There's something going on there that's kind of more than what appears on the surface level. Clearly. And it occurred to me, and it was only after I did that video, very recently, it only occurred to me after it, and it hit me. And it was like, that was an artificial falling out. I never said or done anything that radical. You know, I think I'd emailed him and said, hey, any chance you could follow up on that tutorial you said you would do? Something like that. And he went nuts. He went crazy. He even says, if I could get you in the boxing ring. I said, okay, let's do it. You know, get medical clearance. I don't want to hurt anybody or anything. I was thinking maybe we could do something for charity. That would be great. I never heard from him again. And it has occurred to me, and I wish he was in the room. I tell you what, maybe I should mobilize you folks. Maybe it's time to mobilize you. Because wouldn't it be interesting if a bunch of you folks headed to his channel? I'll be blocked. I'm not going to go. Wouldn't it be interesting if maybe about, say, 10 of yous went and said, check out what this guy's saying, and sent him the link to this video with the timestamp. Check out what this guy thinks. What's your response to the allegation? Imagine if 10 of you did that right now. And what would be the timestamp? What would be the thing? Right, here's the timestamp. Let's get this right. Let's look at the clock. Can we see the clock? Right, how can somebody shout out the timestamp? Hello, Stefan. Whatever it is. 1 hour and 3 minutes, something like that, right? Okay, Jerry, ahoy to you, my friend. Jerry, Stefan, they're all here. Dan's stuff, everybody's here. Okay, so, and Jason, ahoy to you. New name, ding, 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 ding. So here would be the timestamp. Just as a thought experiment, we'll probably not do it, right? But the timestamp would be this part, right now. Now, here's the bit, right? So you all go, excuse me, hay fever. Right, hay fever. I'm just touching my nose. I'm not doing anything else. There's nothing here. Hay fever, okay? Anyway, the timestamp is this. You say, hey, Traversy, check out what this guy's got to say. What's your response, right? And here it is. Now, here it comes. Hi, Brad. You know, been thinking a little bit about our last conversation. And I have this crazy theory, crazy old theory, that just came from the ether. You know how you got dead angry? Really angry, threatened to come and stop me in the boxing ring and all of that stuff, with those scarily, warily gangster tattoos and all of that. Because I had the audacity and the nerve to say something like, hey man, how about that tutorial? Or something like that. Let me tell you something. What I probably said was pretty darn stupid, poorly worded, maybe even a little bit rude. I agree. I've been thinking about this, and I don't think you really fell out with me. That's right. I don't think you even dislike me. I think that the only reason why you completely overreacted, picked up your ball, and then walked into the shadows is because you saw somebody who was calling out the bullshit. Calling out all the bullshit. All of the self-appointed governing bodies, the code police, the Laravells of the world, the rewrite culture, all of that crap. I called it all out. And many of those people are your friends. I believe that if you and I had a conversation about code right now, just about code, I reckon we would agree on 99% of everything, maybe even 100%. And that's because you were, in many respects, the real founder of the Trongate framework. It's true. I remember those years ago I did your course on how to do a PHP framework. I followed a whole bunch of courses, bought a whole bunch as well. And I thought, this is good. And I think I know quite a lot about your coding style. As a matter of fact, on the desktop app, there's a hidden feature undocumented. And it's called Code Like Brad. And you type in this phrase and it actually codes in your style. That, my friend, is how intimately familiar with your work I am. And when I see somebody completely overreacting, heading off because of some scarily, oh no, you're the scary person with the tattoos, forgive me, some obnoxious, loudmouthed swine, well, yeah, maybe there's a case for modifying my behaviour, but let's be honest, I had never done anything that bad. I had never done anything to warrant any of that stuff. Go listen to the start of this video, have a little sneak preview of how my life has been these past few years. I don't think I deserved that at all. It was all because of the hen house. And it's okay. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. I require no assistance from anyone. No tutorial, no nice statement, nothing at all. Actually, I think it's kind of a bit too late anyway. But I want you to know, Brad, I think you like me. I don't believe you when you headed off so offended. I just don't believe it. I think you did that because you saw somebody who rocked the boat and you didn't want to be associated with somebody who was such a scoundrel, such an out-of-control maniac. That's what happened. So I don't blame you for it. It's fine. And have a good life. God bless you. God bless you. All right. So that would be my message. How do you think I did, folks? How do you think I did? Think we should do that? A few of them say, hey, send this to this dude. He's not going to respond in his video, of course. I mean, the policy is you never mention the fact, you never mention me in public or the framework or anything. I'm cancelled, That's how it works. You get cancelled, and it's like being invisible. I'll tell you who's not invisible, though. The Great Perkin. How on earth are you? It's very nice to see you. Welcome, welcome. It's Sunday. Where else would you rather be? Here comes Jason. That's Jason Phillips. Minimum 500 per hour or 600k per year. Or I quit. Put me in a casket. Not interested in working for someone when I can get millions from my own startup. God bless you, Jason. God bless you. And may you never lose that positive entrepreneurial spirit. Jerry is here. Ahoy to you, Jerry. I hope you figured out your challenges. Did I mention that we have Stefan, Babylon, Data Vault, Dan's stuff, and all of that capsule? They're all here. So anyway, how did I do with my little speech to Traversy? How did I do? Think I made a good account of myself, or did I muck it up? What do you reckon? I certainly don't think it's I certainly don't think it's a relationship that's healable. But I don't hold any grudges, actually. When you look at life in terms of these little creatures trying to put food on the table and trying to get by and maybe make a little mark, maybe find a way to say, hey, I'm here, before we all leap back into the great void. There's really no need to get upset about any of this, It's fine. All right. Are there any more questions or comments before I get back to my work? I'll give you another minute. I'm going to stay here as long as the questions and comments come in. We'll give it another minute. Anyway, let me know. Let me know. So, anybody working on anything good? No? Well, I'm working on something cool, but I have to be a little bit secretive, I have to keep something to myself, right? Can't just be open source all the time. But I do have a little project that I'm working on, and I hope it kicks off, because this is just not sustainable, all of this, Strangely enough, I enjoy it. I really do. I think that if I was, somebody said you deserve to be a millionaire. If I was a millionaire, I would be right here. It wouldn't change anything. I enjoy this, and I'm good at it. So it's fine, All right. Well, everybody seems to be cool. And thank you very much indeed for passing by. I really do appreciate it. Join me tomorrow night. We will have 7:30 London time. It's going to be Judgment Day for Doronov. The drama shall be dramatic. But since reputations are on the line, again, let me give you the spoiler alert. The judgment is, yes, he has been sneaking around in the shadows, telling people to unstar Trongate. He managed to get a few people to do it, actually, as far as I can tell. But the spoiler alert is, I don't blame him. It is I who messed up in that particular situation. But we'll talk about that tomorrow. Okay, thank you very much. Babylon Data Vault, what a beautiful name. Thank you so much, and thanks for the comments. I really appreciate it. Everybody, have a great day, And if I seem a wee bit miserable lately, I do apologize. I'm not that bad. I have a cool life, I'm happy. I'm definitely at the top of my game. I feel as if I can build anything, and so can you, right? So let's not get too depressed by any of this. One door closes, another door opens. And for anyone who's wondering about Trongate, don't worry, the flags are flying. We had another pull request come in today from Dom Sinclair. Thank you, Dom. I might be doing some documentation. And can you believe it, just before we go, Jonathan Quayle Higgins. Hello to you, my friend. Hello to you. I have to tell you something. The last time, looks like I'm going to be staying. The last time I bumped into Jonathan Quayle Higgins here on the live stream, and I'm sure it's on YouTube, I don't think I referred to him by the name Jonathan Quayle Higgins. That was not quite the name that I was using the last time, just a few weeks ago. I think the name I was using then was, let me think. I think it was Ya Fucking Idiot. I think that was the name. But you know what? The universe is a funny place. And I can tell you that he and I had a little chat shortly after that on the virtual phone thing, whatever it is. And he was cool. And more than that, I like to think that he's even a friend. Who would have thought? Who would have thought? And I'm really, really, really glad that I was able to help out with a little challenge that he had. And I was able to do so in a way that preserved his dignity and the person involved, And it was really beautiful, And it's such a nice thing when enemies become friends. So good to see you, Jonathan, and I hope you're well. Babylon says, am I nostalgic? Perhaps a wee bit. I think everybody is. But maybe not too nostalgic, We don't want to look backwards too much. All right, folks. Thank you very much indeed. Have a fabulous day. I'll see you soon.